Hey everyone, from me, Brent Graham. It's Thursday night, at 9 o'clock time for the rugby chat. The handicap, should I say, rugby chat that matters. I'm just having a bit of a chuckle because the Oracle, I couldn't get him to stop talking before we started the show. And his last words I heard him say were, the bookmakers better be very afraid when I retire, because then I'm going to have time on my hands, I'm under fire, and I'm going to hit them hard. Gavin, I'm probably making an error of judgment here in welcoming you first, but welcome to the show, mate.
Yeah, thanks very much, Brent. I'd like to apologise first for last week. I suggested that you were going to get 30% of your money on Argentina. No bank in the world would give you that. And I did watch the game painfully. And after leading by 9, they threw it away. So if you went and listened to me and stuck all your money on Argentina, I do apologise. It was a foolish thing to say. I won't do it again. I also made another mistake, actually, suggesting that the game at the college in Midrand would be, a couple of hundred people, but it actually turned out to be a couple of thousand people. And I've got to say, I will go back to the positive comment I made, which was accurate, is take the game rural. We saw Western Province play at the Stellenbosch University on the weekend. We saw the game in Midrand, DSTV or MultiChoice, Super Sport, whoever you want to call them. The crowds came out, and I honestly stand by what I said. If you take these games rural, you're going to get a far better attendance. I've gone watching club rugby in KZN, not much here in the Western Cape. I have seen a bit, but in KZN, I know the people came out to watch club rugby, and if you take the Sharks or the Western Province or the Lions or Bulls, whoever it is, take them to a rural setting. I wouldn't call it a stadium. The crowds will come out. If you keep going back there every week, they probably won't. But it's a case of moving the game around, taking it to the people, and they'll come out and watch you. I think those two games were a great visual for our Currie Cup, because if you watch the game at Kings Park, I don't think there were less people at Kings Park than there were at both Stellenbosch and Midrand. So it's a testament to it. It's a good idea. Don't worry about it. You can take the big games and the playoff games, you can take to big stadiums, but the rest of them, take them rural. People will be happy and they'll come out and watch.
Excellent. Well, welcome to the gents in the live chat, Bitsy and Werner in there ready. And let's go down to the bottom. I like that jersey, Henrik Swat. What year was that from?
Brent, this is the first Springbok jersey I've ever owned. My dad gave it to me. All the other jerseys I bought myself, but I think this is just after school, like 2003 World Cup thereabouts. Not a World Cup jersey, but was just after the 2000. So this jersey, it's like the old school long sleeve jersey, still proper material, not the t-shirt material you get these days. And it's probably it's more than 20 years old, and I still fit in it. I'm pretty impressed that I'm still fit in it after all the brandy I've consumed the last 24 years thereabouts after making matric. So I put it on this evening for the first time in a long while. I'm really looking forward to the Bok game this weekend. Obviously, that's the main game, the Boks versus the All Blacks. We had a humdinger last weekend, and I'm going to this weekend's game. So I'm already getting started for the game. I can't wait for that. It's going to be a cracking game.
Excellent. Well, let's get straight into that game. I'll bring the banner up now, Henrik, and we'll start with you. That we got South Africa pretty much been -5.5 all week, but I did see them edge in with certain bookmakers -4.5. And we've got a points line here, 50.5, which is similar to the quote of last week. Overs, of course, arriving quite comfortably. What are your thoughts on this one? The teams are out. I know I won't ask Gavin's comment on too many of the team selections, but from your side, teams are out. What do you make of it, and where's your money going here?
So, Brent, I think New Zealand made some smart choices. There was obviously a few injuries. There were a few injuries, but I like Will Jordan moving to 15. I think that's a positive move for them. And Severies coming in. Severies, as a winger, his work rate is so good, and he just finishes so well, as so good as well. And then Wallace Setiti at flank, he's a big unit. Ethan Black he has a big work rate, but Satiti is a big guy, so I think he will. He'll be better against our forwards with the just being a bigger guy. And then obviously, I'm not a fan of TJ Perenara. I've been quite vocal on that. So I think Curtis Ratima coming in is also positive for them. So I like the changes the All Blacks have made. And then regarding the Bok team, I thought Rassie would experiment again, but I think he's actually he's going more conservative with the team he's picked, and I like the team he's picked. Much more experience. It shows he's taking this game very seriously. He wants to beat the All Blacks. He wants to have that psychological edge on them. So yeah, I like the changes. I like Willie Leroux being back. I like him. Andre Pollard at 10. I'm not a fan of him. He's not a playmaker in my opinion, but he kicks well at goal. Looks Sasha has been great at 10, but with Andre coming back, you need Willie there to make the plays, to get tries for us. But Sasha has had his chance, and I think Andre has been on the sides for a while, so it's good to get him back as well. But yeah, and Peter Steftoy back to flank, Eben back in the starting lineup. It's a good Bok team. It's a good All Black team, but the Boks, I think they will beat the Handicap here, Brent. I think they will win this one by double figures, in my opinion. I think I saw some -4.5 somewhere today. I'm not sure whether it's still available. I haven't made a bet on the game yet. I will obviously make a bet, but in my opinion, -4, -5, -6, -7 won't make a difference. I expect the Boks to win this by double figures. Last week the Boks were terrible, but the team they picked were more youngsters in the team. And in my opinion, they're taking this game more seriously. Yeah. They had the altitude in their favor last week. And they have a good record at the Cape Town Stadium. They haven't played there a lot. And 3 of the 5 games they've played there was against the British Isles Lions, which was without supporters. But I expect the Boks to win well here and put down a marker. And I don't think all is well in the All Black camp. I think with Leon McDonald just leaving before they came to South Africa, there's something there. I'm not sure whether all the players are 100% on par with where they have to be, what their work is. And I can't believe they're still playing Damien McKenzie at 10. But Bowden Barrett dropped to the bench now. He's obviously going to make an impact when he comes up on. But I would start him at 10 and have Damien McKenzie come on from the bench, and he'll make an impact as well. But if Bowden starts at 10, he'll make much more of an impact from the start. So yeah, I like the Boks here, Brent. Points wise, 50.5. Cape Town Stadium, even though it's at sea level, it's normally quite high scoring. But I'm not sure about. I'm just going to focus on the handicap here. I think this handicap is still low. The Boks will win by at least 1 converted try, but I expect them to win by more. So I think play it safe, take the -5.5.
Excellent. Yeah, I actually did the good for the game preview earlier. So that is up on the good for the game page. I went for the -4.5 there. And I'm with you there, Henrik. I'd take 5.5 as well. I'm very much in the Bok camp. I agree with you on the changes. I actually prefer the Bok changes, if I can put it that way, even to the All Black ones. I would have had Bowden Barrett starting at 10 there for the All Blacks. So yeah, looking forward to this one. And like you, probably going to leave points alone and just focus on the handicap and shut the Boks home. The way they played last week, they were fortunate to come through it, but at the same time they had the BMT to come through it. And I think we're going to see a better performance from the Boks this week. Now let's bring Gavin in on this, but before I bring him in, let me see. 1286Z has just asked, what is Granny's pension going on this week? Now, unfortunately, here in South Africa, we've got this 2 or 3 pot system, we call it now. And I mean, Granny's pension was halved or taken by a third last week on Argentina. So, Gav, the question is there any Granny's pension left to fire on this game?
Geez, Brent, I just want to say one more thing, and I probably should have said it a little earlier, is I chatted to you earlier in the week. Somebody made a comment on last week's video suggesting that they were disappointed that we didn't talk about the teams. Henrik is probably well versed in what I'm going to say, and I suppose you are as well, Brent. I actually don't know these players. That Jason, Ben, Dixon, whatever it is, I'd never heard of the oak. I had absolutely no idea. I thought he was a New Zealander. He sounded like a New Zealander. I don't know the players. Yes, I know the Flaus and the the Villy de Roos. Once they hang around for like 50 tests, I get to know who they are. But honestly, I don't know these players. And everyone's got their way of winning money and understanding how they win money. I've just been pretty good without knowing the players and not letting it influence me. And that might bother people. It might upset people. It might stun people. I don't know. I just don't know the play. I know the rules. I know the laws of rugby. I've got a fair idea of how they work. I played rugby as a kid or a teenager. I don't want to meddle with that. I don't know. I mean, I watched that Egg Chaser. I don't know if anyone's watched Egg Chaser before, but the guy's getting like 100,000 views. And he doesn't tell us who's going to win. I mean, do our viewers, Brent, do they want to know how we think about the team and not what we think, how to make money or which team's going to win? I just watch some of these pundits and tipsters and I think to myself, that's crazy. They're just waffling along, telling us about this guy went on, that guy went on, he played this, he had an injury here. I don't care about that stuff. I don't know. Maybe I've got to relook at the whole thing.
I'm with you in the sense that, first of all, I think every guy's got his own style. Secondly, for me, team news is relevant in times. I also look at it, but I guess the views don't lie. Those oaks are getting 100,000 views on that. So obviously the betting element's still new, but yeah, at the end of the day, I do look at teams, but at the same time, like I'll look at the Currie Cup, for example. I don't know a lot of those players. I'm starting to know them now because I'm watching quite a bit of Currie Cup. But that's where I tend to rely on someone else, someone who follows the Currie Cup a little bit closer, knows the guys, because people will say, Western Province are putting out a strong team, and I'll look at it, and for me, it might look no different from the previous week. But yeah, no, to each his own. But I think most punters probably analyze teams, but whatever works for you, Gav. And what do you think in this game, by the way?
So last week I suggested that -7, -8 in some places was the highest we've ever seen, which it was. And yes, All Blacks leading by 10 with 20 minutes to go, 18 minutes, whatever clock you were watching. I always remember telling people, if South Africa want to win this game, they've got to be up by 10 with 20 minutes to go. And that sort of has changed a bit, or changed quite a lot, actually. South Africa are the team that can come back. And I did listen to a few people over the week, watched a few videos, read some articles. And I think South Africa got to the point where if you want to beat South Africa, you've probably got to have I'm not going to suggest a 10-point lead like the All Blacks of 2011 to 2015, but you probably got to be leading by a try, 5, 6, 7 points going into the last 20 if you want to beat South Africa. It's going to be pretty tough otherwise. I like the way they played last week. I like the way that they came on. I know they've gone for a 5-3 split, and for those who are watching, I don't care who the players are. The fact that it's 5-3 is different to 6-2. That's a maths thing. This Sasha chap, they've put him on the bench. He played a good game. He played a good couple of games, actually. I was quite impressed with him. So, yes, I do know I don't know where he comes from, but obviously watched him in the Bok jersey. Villy de Roos coming back. I think he's got a couple to go to get to 100 tests. I did read that recently as well. New Zealand, as Henrik clearly pointed out, and I agree 100%, they've got problems. There's a lot of issues in that camp. Managers moving around and leaving and coming and going. But what sort of record has this guy got so far? I was at that Super Rugby final in 2016, 2017 when the Lions got the red card with Quacker Smith going off. Cool. And barely, I'm going to say barely holding on to winning the game. They won the game. He did his little breakdance like everyone said he was going to do. I haven't seen much breakdancing from him recently. I think South Africa win this game. I'm not bullish on the minus. I think they scrape it home like they did last week. But that's not a confident call. I do think they win. I'm confident that they win. Whether they win by -5 or not, it's very difficult for me to take -5, having had the history of the handicaps in my head over the years. South Africa seldom start at minus against New Zealand, and yes, we are better than them at the moment, but still, it's a hard pill to swallow. It's almost like I'm going to break it up into 8 pieces and take it over the next 8 weeks. I don't know. South Africa win this game. By how much, I don't know. Another thing that'll be interesting is to see what sort of support New Zealand get in the crowd, because it's been a while since New Zealand played in Cape Town. They've traditionally had a anti-Bok or pro-All Black sort of community going, and that is diminishing as far as I understand, but it'll be interesting to see how it goes. And I'll tell you, I'll be very surprised if they've got any tickets, because I've got mates that are coming from Durban and Joburg. They're going to watch the game at the waterfront. They're not even going to the game because they couldn't get tickets. They booked flights and couldn't get tickets. So, yeah, I think it's quite tough to get in there. Listen, I'm not going to tell you not to listen to Heinrich here. Of course, South Africa can win by -5. I won't be getting involved in the handicap here. Might put South Africa into a multiple, or I'll watch a bit of in-running, wait for South Africa to go behind a little bit and have a bet. At -5, I'm not a punter for South Africa. And at the same time, I'm also not a All Black punter either. It just feels too much to me. One of the probably, we've won the game 40 times or 41 times over the 100 and whatever games you've played against them. I'm going to say in 100 games, well, not 100 games. In the last 50 games that we've played in the professional era, we've probably been favourite 10 times. And this just feels too much. I don't know. I'm not a minus here.
Okay, we'll move on to the next game. I think you're probably even less than 10 times that we've probably been favourites if we had to look at those stats. So totally take your point there. But very much firmly in the undertakers camp there and on the box minus. Gavin, I'm going to get you started in the next game. We're going to Argentina against Australia. I was on Australia last week. Late decision to back them. Took 28-10. And at halftime, I think there were 6, or they might have pulled to within a couple of points, but they had a big win behind them in the second half. They did the business last week, and I think this is going to be another close game. I was impressed with Australia. Schmidt is starting to have an impact, in my opinion. What have you got for us here, Gavin? We've also got what looks like being dry conditions. It's an earlier game as well, and a points line of 49.5.
Brent, excuse me. Well done. You backed Australia. I was never backing Australia last week. I was all over Argentina, but I did feel that they gave the game away. I think they made a lot of mistakes. I think this was very much bad Argentina rather than good Australia. But at the same time, I think if you look at the 10, 15, 20 last fixtures, Argentina at home against Australia, I think they've only won a couple. Argentina, I'm talking about. They seem to win away more than they do at home. I was at the game when they beat the Springboks in Durban. Obviously, watched that famous game in 2020 when they beat New Zealand in Australia. It's almost like they get up for the games where no one expects them to win. The ones that the world expects them to win, they don't perform. So I'm going to tell you, stay out of this game completely. I'm not having a punt on this game. I'm not interested. Effectively did my money on last week. When they were 9 ahead, and I'm not sure if they scored just after halftime, but I watched the whole game.
They were 10-0. Yeah, they were 10-0.
Yeah. No, but not only that. When both teams had scored, they were up by 9, I think at the 50th minute or something, and they gave the game away. I'm not interested in that. It was poor. Show off stuff. I don't know, like you. I don't even know an analogy that comes to mind for this, but I just felt they were poor. That second half was extremely poor. And I don't know if that was good Australia. I'm going to suggest it wasn't. But Australia can certainly win this game. In fact, the smart money would probably be backing Australia because it's less layout for it. You put down 100, you can win a couple of hundred rather than trying to win 30 or 40 or 50 rand for your 100 backing Argentina. Handicap means nothing to me. This is either Argentina win by a long way or Australia win. Australia -9 and Argentina -19. Take those two bets for small money, and I don't think it arrives anywhere in the middle. I think this is a comfortable Australia win or a comfortable Argentina win, but I'd rather go for Australia if the value seems to be there. I don't think they perform at home. They didn't last week, and they can't win the tournament. I suggested take 20-1 last week. In fact, if you want to have a go, take the 200 to 1 Australia to win the tournament, because of course they can. New Zealand beat us on Saturday. Australia win a game. After winning this game this weekend, Australia can win this tournament. So 200 to 1 Australia, couple of units, well, not a couple of units, couple of 0.10s of a unit. I'm an Australia punter, or I'm a big minus Argentina, or minus 9.5 Australia, but I think the value's with Australia.
That's probably the longest preview we've ever had for a guy who actually doesn't have an opinion on the game. We'll
Correct.
go down to Henrik.
I'm unlikely to have a bet. Yeah, it'll be a small bet.
You're unlikely to have a bet. Look, so I'll give you my opinion. Shane actually just asked you, did the weather conditions affect last week's outcome? Certainly did, in terms of the type of game that was played. The conditions were really, really poor. I was very impressed, particularly with Australia. I thought their handling, when I say impressed with them, I don't think they showed me enough on attack at times, but I thought their handling and that was pretty good. I thought they outplayed Argentina and deserved the win on the night. And yes, I'm starting to lean towards Australia here again. Henrik, let me first of all get your opinion on last week's game, and then where are you leaning on this one?
So, Brent, I can't give you an opinion on last week's game because I didn't watch it. I went fishing last weekend, so I did watch the Bok game, but that's all I watched last weekend. I didn't see any other games. The area we go to is quite remote, so we actually managed to watch the Bok game, but after that we went to the place we stay and there's no signal there. So I couldn't see the Australia, the Argentina versus Australia game. But I agree with, before I get into what I feel on this game, I agree with Gavin's sentiment that Argentina seemed to struggle at home. Australia, especially from memory, and I don't keep stats on this and I haven't checked it, but from memory, Australia do quite well in Argentina. The few games that I punted, that I've got actually got a hit on, that I backed Argentina, that I can remember losing money on. Australia, and it's normally quite high scoring. Last week it was a wet game, but from memory, I think it's quite high scoring there. And Australia, they beat Argentina most of the time there. And New Zealand as well. New Zealand do quite well in Argentina. They actually put them away quite well and beat them easily there. And the Boks, for some reason, they struggle in Argentina. Again, just from memory, I have no stats, and I just remember not doing well in Argentina. But this weekend, I have a feeling Argentina's going to beat this handicap, Brent. I hear you like Australia, and I've heard what Gavin says. He thinks either Australia win or Argentina win well. I think Argentina, they're going to bounce back here, in my opinion. And like I said, I didn't watch last game. I didn't see highlights of it or anything. But I just have a feeling Argentina's going to bounce back here. I think the minus is the way to go here. And if you don't like the minus and you don't have a strong feel on this game like me, I'm going to take the Argentina 1-12. I think Australia will be buoyed by last weekend. They might stay in the fight. But last weekend was quite a big thing for Australia to win a game for a chance again, because they've struggled badly. I just think Argentina will win this game. Not confident, but I think I'm going to take a bit of value on 1-12. And I haven't checked the weather. If the weather is good, I'm going to take over some total points here. I think Australia, in good weather conditions, Australia struggle to defend, and they concede quite a few points. And normally they would score as well. They struggled against the Boks, but everybody struggles against the Boks to score points. So I think there will be points in this game. But yeah, I feel Argentina 1-12, bit of value. I don't like Australia in this game.
Okay, so Henrik going there for Argentina. I like the points. I like the over 49.5. I'm also eyeing out. I see Johan saying take Argentina points, probably at around 26.5, 27.5. I'm then looking at Australia points at around 22.5. So definitely looks like overs could be the play in this game. Seeing coming in from Port Elizabeth, good to have you on the show. And Oracle, after last week, Granny's pension, when are you going to retire? Is the question there. Right. We'll see what Oracle's got to say now about the Currie Cup. But yeah, certainly looking forward to both of these games, particularly the Bok game. And Farid is actually going, he's sort of leaning with me on this one. He's going for a -6.5 on Australia at 5-1, just a small bet for him there. Right, guys, we'll come back to best bets at the end. Let's get into the Currie Cup. And Henrik, I'll start with you. First game, quite a bit of betting movement here. Western Province opening -4.5. I have seen them touch 15.5 at one point. It's quick look before the show. It seems like we basically got around 12.5, 13.5 now. Griquas underdogs at home to Western Province, who have brought a few players back. And we got a points line here. I've got a feeling I might have mistyped that. I think it should be 67.5. Ignore that. I'm going to change that. What are your views on this game?
So, Brent, before I start, I haven't seen any betting on the Currie Cup before coming onto the show, and I did that on purpose. So I haven't seen like movements on the games and anything. I saw the Western Province team, and it looks like they're bringing quite a few URC guys back into the team. Griquas, they've been quite good lately. And this game is in Kimberley, 67.5. That's quite a lot of points. But in the Currie Cup, well, how much is a lot of points, eh? Yeah, I saw Jazet Weber starting at 2, and that's the only thing. And it's going to sound strange because it's just one player, but in my opinion, it's a key player, and it's one player that's keeping me from telling you to back the minus, because lineouts are so important, and you've got a guy like Andre Hufente on the bench who's a great hooker. His scrummaging is good. His lineout throws are good. He's good in loose. I don't know. I can't understand what Western Province sees in Weber. They've obviously signed a contract with him, and it's probably not good of me to go against one player on the show, but they probably have a contract with him and they have to see out the contract. But yeah, he's a liability in the team, and that's keeping me from telling you to back the minus. I'm going to go plus Griquas here, and I'm probably going to be in the majority, in the minority, but I think the plus is the way to go. But yeah, I think the better bet here probably over some Griquas points, because Western Province will score, but they will concede as well. So whatever Griquas points is, go over some Griquas points here.
Yeah, it looks like it'll probably be Griquas points. What would that be? Around about 26, 27 points there. Yeah, I also like the Griquas points there quite a bit. I've really been impressed with Griquas in recent weeks, and I know Province have now bought back some players, but I'm not convinced Griquas are just going to roll over personally. And Gavin, yourself on this game, now we've given you the team news, so it is a stronger Western Province side. Does that affect you in any way?
I'm going to see Henrik's 12, and I'm going to raise him a Griquas on the board. I think at 12.5, you're probably getting around 9-2, possibly even as much as 5-1, depending on where you go. I'm going to tell you that's value. I'm going to also tell you that changing 4, 5, 6, 7 players doesn't fix the problem. Western Province scraped home against the Pumas last week. I think we also had that conversation, Brent, on WhatsApp. They were extremely lucky to win that game. And the other 2 games that they've won is against the Griffons. Not everyone's got to play the Griffons twice. So Western Province had an opportunity. They're not making the playoffs here. The Griquas can't make the playoffs either, but this is probably going to be a reasonably full stadium. I've been to Kimberley. I actually went to the Army there. I think they fill the stadium, or very close. It's their last game of the season. And I'm going to tell you they can win this game. Absolutely can win this game. I don't think that bringing in a few Western Province or URC players, Stormers players, will make a difference. There's something wrong there. It's not working. And yeah, I don't think they fix it this weekend. So I'm on the board here. I'm not even going to bother with a plus. Griquas on the board.
Right, well, we're going to go on to the next game, and I just want to bring up Shane's comment. As Oracle's official tour manager, he can officially announce he will not be pushed into punting retirement result stands. I love that one, Shane. Beautiful. Oracle will be with us for many years to come. But I'm going to stick with Oracle now. Oracle, this handicap open -40.5 Lions. A World Sports betting obviously come out early, so nothing really to compare it to. I've seen 42.5. I grabbed just before the show. I saw 45.5. It's in that sort of region. It's a big handicap, but the Lions, I mean, last week, very impressive against the Bulls. They've named a very different side now. Griffons hammered by the Sharks in Durban. Can this Griffons side stand up and beat the handicap on the road?
Brent, I'm going to use a Gold Reef City analogy here. I can't remember what those rides are called, but I always enjoyed going to Gold Reef City and going on those roller coasters. The Griffons have been a roller coaster. I've gone plus, I've gone minus, I've gone plus, I've gone minus. I laughed at you last week, 46. I thought it was too much. You said you'd got the 32 earlier on with the Sharks. The Sharks had put that handicap away quite early. I think this team's finished. I think they ran out of petrol 2.5 games ago. I'll be very surprised if the Lions don't put 70 past this team. So this is a minus for me all the way. I'm not going to say it's my best bet because I haven't really thought about what it is, but it's very close. Lions by 100 for Reed. We could see it. We haven't seen 100 in Currie Cup since we had the 14 teams all those years ago, 14, 15, 16 years ago. This could get very close. And I know I called it on that game with the Cheetahs that ended up, they nearly beat the Cheetahs. But yeah, I think this Griffons team's out of petrol, and I think the Lions will find it. They'll find their problems, and they'll punish them.
Now, Henrik, I'm going to come down to you there. I know you've always been a fan of Griffons' points, and it's done you pretty well this season. And I guess their points is going to be around 17.5, 18.5, if I'm doing my maths correctly. What are your views on this game? Because I tend to side with the Oracle on this one. I just think that 10 games in a row for a union like the Griffons. Yeah. And I saw the interview, I think it was of the captain after the last game. And, a typical interviewer trying to ask them if they can take any positives out the game. And the guy's you could just see his head was down. They've taken a lot of thumpings. Can they lift themselves up here, Henrik, and beat this handicap? Or do you think this could be a big minus we can take on?
Lions all the way, Brent. Lions going to win this by 80 plus. The 100 is on there. The Lions are going to win the Currie Cup. I like this Lions team so much, and I know Oracle, he's a big Lions supporter, but this is a great Lions team, and I like they are the best team here in the Currie Cup, in my opinion. The Sharks and the Bulls, they've put on some performances here and there, Sharks especially, in my opinion, but I like the Lions to win the Currie Cup, and I'm looking at the team here. Number 6, Renzo du Plessis. That is such a star in the making, He's going to be a Bok, 100%. He's going to play a lot of tests for the Bok. He's probably going to score a hat-trick in the first half here. He likes scoring tries. His work rate is amazing. Great player. Gavin, I know you don't follow the team news as much, but you probably...
Never heard of that.
You should look. You should watch your team's games. He's a great player. He just seems to be in the right place at the right time, and his work rate is good. He's strong. Anyway, he's gonna score. If you get a market on like 2+ tries on a player, he's a flank forward, but you will probably get more than even money. You can back that. He will score a few tries. I see Sanele Noamba is on the bench, and he's obviously one of the URC players. So he'll come on in the second half and make a big difference. Ruan Stroily, JC Pretorius, another flank forward with a big work rate. Xander du Plessis, quality player. They've got some good guys on the bench. This is a strong Lions team. I'm a big fan of Tapiwe Mafura. I've always been a big fan of him since his days at the Pumas. He's a good finisher, but he's also a playmaker from that 15 position. And I'm looking at the Griffons side, and I don't know the Griffons players that well, but
I can't help you.
Obviously, each week I look at the teams and I see the teams. But this Griffons team, there's a few guys, in my opinion, that haven't played. Well, they haven't played all the games. I see Curtly Ambrose Thomas on the bench, and that's probably my favorite name. Obviously, his dad was a big West Indies cricket supporter, Curtly Ambrose Thomas. He's there. And then the left wing Gershwin Ware, he's a good finisher, and he scored a very good try against the Sharks last week, and he played quite well. I saw the highlights of that game. But yeah, Brent, I think and this is at altitude as well for the Griffons. I think the Lions finished them off. Halftime handicap, probably about, 22, thereabouts, 21, 22,
Yes,
maybe
21, 22.
Yeah,
I was also thinking that.
They will finish the job quickly here, but they will also finish the minus 45.5. Yeah, you'd be a very brave guy to go plus here, or any plus. If you fancy the Griffons, go for the points, and just hope they can score 3 tries maybe. But yeah, I think you have to go minus here, minus 45.5. The Lions will win this by at least 60.
Yeah, well, we're all aligned on this one. Blutus Kroon is asking, do you guys give a punt on the week? Yes, at the end, we give our best bets. And if you're not on my newsletter yet, there's a link down in the description box below. Also send out my plays probably tomorrow morning because I'm going away for a long weekend. So I'll probably look to get it out early. And, of course, we've got some Currie Cup action coming up. Henrik, I'm going to stay with you. Pumas against the Cheetahs. I haven't seen a points line on this. Is effectively a quarter-final now in Nelspruit. And a bit of a movement on the handicaps. I just want to double check. I priced the Pumas as favourites. They actually opened up. I went minus 4.5. They opened up plus 1.5. But the money has come for the Pumas. They now, well, the last I looked, minus 1.5. And these Currie Cup handicaps do move quite a bit. What are your views here, Henrik?
Brent, the Cheetahs started off well in the Currie Cup, but in my opinion, they've been disappointing the last few weeks. Pumas, they've been hit and miss as well. But I think Jimmy will have them up for this game. Like you said, very important game. Yeah, Pumas to win the game. You probably, if you shop it around, you get about 8 to 10. If you feel a bit like you need a better price, take the minus 2, minus 3.5. Minus 2.5 probably best. Then you've got a penalty. Yeah, I think the Pumas will win the game. Points-wise, it's going to be tricky here because it's such an important game. You would expect the teams to play a bit more conservatively. So I'm not going to be... Yeah, and you don't want to go unders in the Currie Cup. That's very dangerous.
Especially in Nelspruit as well. The points have flowed in Nelspruit. I think the lowest scoring game in Nelspruit's been around 70. There's been a couple. But I hear you 100% that this game is a quarter-final at the end of the day. So I think you've got to be careful.
Oh, Brent's gone. Yeah, he's coming back. But yeah, I think, well, early on in the Currie Cup, the points there were a few low-scoring games when you expected points. But, yeah, Brent, like you said, in Nelspruit, there's been a lot of points. But I just feel if it's such an important game, the coaches will tell the players to play more conservatively, not make mistakes, just win the game. But yeah, I think the Pumas will do enough to win the game. Yeah, so yeah, minus 1.5 for me.
Blutus Kroon was asking Oracle where the jaw is this weekend. Gavin, I think he's mistaking you for a 23-year-old going on the jaw this weekend. You'll be safely in front of the TV watching rugby. What do you think of this game?
Correct. One of my good friends coming down from Durban, she told me she's coming to Cape Town to watch a rugby. And I found out earlier today she's going to the waterfront to watch the rugby because she didn't get a ticket. So I might go and have lunch with her, but that's about it. I'll be home safely 2 hours before the kickoff to watch at home, yes. I am a jawler. I will have I don't have a curfew, so I'll go all night. I have no off switch, but I'm not interested in nightclubs and where all these lighties and ankle biters hang out. So if you're one of those, you're unlikely to see me where you go and have your brandy and Coke special. You won't find me there. Brent, I'm going to tell you this is bet of the week. So whoever was asking for punt of the week, you can take the Pumas here with confidence. I'm going to tell you can take -9 here, so double-digit win or more. Cheetahs have been absolutely poor, and if you've been following this show and you watched me almost as much as 4 weeks ago or 5 weeks ago, I was touting the Cheetahs as the best team in the competition. I've gone on that Gold Reef City roller coaster and I've done the full loop, and I've realized that I was completely wrong. I don't know what happened to them, but this is the last Pumas home game in this tournament. If they win this game, or should I say when they win this game, they will win this game. They'll win it comfortably. They'll be facing the Lions in Joburg the following week, and that'll be the end of their tenure in this tournament. So, yeah, I expect a decent crowd for this. When I say decent in Puma land or in Pumalanga land, probably about 8,000, 9,000 people should show up for this game. They'll win it comfortably, excuse me. And, yeah, this is bet of the week. If you have no other bets in the week and you only have one bet, back the Pumas to win. And if you want to be a little bit more brave like I am, take -9.5. You're probably going to get around about 3-7-2, 3-1, 7-2. And I think they win this by double digits or more, or not or more, because it can only be double digits. They're not going to win this by 100. But I say they win this game comfortably. Cheetahs have, somebody said earlier, I think it was Fareed, Cheetahs have lost the plot. I don't think they had the plot in the first place. So you can't lose something you didn't have. Pumas all the way for me.
Right, we'll stay with you then for the next game, Gav. We've got my computer just a little bit slow to bring it up. The Sharks against the Bulls. Also been a bit of betting movement on this one. I just want to double check. I opened Sharks -5. Well, I thought it was 4.5 minus for the Sharks. They did open as underdogs +3.5, but the money has come for them. The Bulls still slight favourites in this game. What are you doing? This is a Sunday game in Durban.
Yeah, incorrect favourite. They got the wrong favourite here. We watched that game at Midrand last week. That I'm not going to call it a mediocre Lions team. I think Henrik's right. It is a decent team. It's in fact almost like the 2011 team, or possibly even the 2015 that the Lions had when they won the Currie Cup. I'm sorry. The Bulls aren't winning this game. They don't need to win it. So that's number one. They don't need to win this game. In fact, if anything, both teams will learn about each other because they're going to be playing each other in the following week. So the only possible change in the semi-final fixture here is who the Lions play. Lions at home, they don't know who they play. But the Bulls and Sharks will switch around the following week. They can't change this week. Sharks can't get into second. Bulls can't come third. So I think, this could be the last game in Kings Park, and I think we'll see a reasonable crowd. Especially being a Sunday. I'm against these games that are playing before South Africa play. No one's going to the stadiums. We saw what a pitiful crowd it was on Saturday when the Sharks played before the Springboks. I think it's a waste of time. I wouldn't even bother with that. So changing the game to Sunday is a good move, and I think they will get a decent crowd. There's no school rugby on Sunday. I think the Sharks win this game, and I think they win it comfortably as well. In fact, I'm going to suggest a double, -9.5 Sharks and -9.5 Pumas. And if you want to go into treble, put Griquas on the board onto that, and that'll be your weekend. Sharks all the way here for me.
Right. Michael just making the point about watch the team news here, and I think it is a good point because there is nothing further for the guys to play for. Henrik, anything to add on this game?
No, Brent, tough one, eh? There's more than enough games this weekend to punt on and to watch. Sharks to win the game. I don't know. I'm not going to be interested in this game, Brent. Punting wise and to watch it. Like Gavin said, they can't move on the lock. Neither of these teams. Even the players and the coach, they're not going to be interested in this game. They're not going to analyze for this game. They won't be interested because they are already looking forward to the week after that. So yeah, this is a very dangerous game. If you really need to punt this game, take the Sharks to win it. But yeah, I think leave this game alone. Don't punt on it.
I just want to interject, not interject, but just to add to that. So I'm not a dead rubber punter, and I've been known for that. Generally, I've stayed away from dead rubbers. In fact, I'm going to retract what I said earlier. Henrik's 100% right, and I didn't really consider that earlier. If you're going to have a bet, take the double. In fact, let me put it this way. Dead rubbers are fine if you're going to take a price. So going -9.5, you're getting 3-1. You're not going broke, especially if you're doubling into 3-1 on the other side. Don't go and take massive money on +1.5 or Sharks on the board. Sure, they'll win the game. They should win the game. But the point is, it is a dead rubber. So to eliminate to take the risk of the dead rubber out of your bet reduce your stake tremendously or increase your price. And then I'm going to say it's okay. So that's where I'm coming from here. Have a bigger handicap, smaller stake, enjoy the game, and don't be disappointed if you lose it. But honestly, for me, the double is Sharks minus here, Pumas minus, or Pumas to win for that matter. I think, Pumas minus, Sharks minus 9.5, both of them minus 9.5. Chuck in the Griquas as well. And if I calculate correctly, that could be very close to 50 to 1. You're not going broke on that.
No, certainly not. You don't have to put too much down there. Before we get into the best bet, gents, I was going to touch on NPC. Gavin and myself obviously don't follow it that closely. I know there's a few boys on the Good for the Game forum that punt it, and there's a link to the forum down below in the description box. But Henrik, I know you focus mainly on Currie Cup and in particular on the Rugby Champs this weekend, but anything in the NPC that you fancy?
No, Brent. I used to be big on the NPC, and I tried to still follow it, but obviously, like you and Gavin, just before we came onto the show, Gavin touched on that again with time. You need time to beat the bookmakers. So with my kids getting older, family time.
Been there, done that.
Family time is much more important than rugby and betting. But I still try to follow the NPC. So I'll quickly try and go through it, and maybe I can give
question before you go, Henrik. I want to ask this question. Yes, we've joked about that time story, and as you know, I mean, 5 years ago, Henrik had lots of time. Today, you don't have the time you had 5 years ago. I'm getting more time than I had 5 years ago. But more importantly than that is, what have you noticed with the NPC? Excuse me, and I'm asking because you have followed it a lot more than us, as well as people that are watching the show. Have you noticed a difference since Super Rugby stopped? So in other words, from 2020 to now, have you noticed a difference in the NPC? And what have you seen? I mean, is it more volatile than it was? Is it better than it was? Is it more punter friendly? Just basic stuff to help people and to help me. I mean, I do watch the odd game, but I don't bet on it.
Gavin, so no, I don't think Super Rugby has had any influence on NPC. NPC is still what it was. Super Rugby obviously has gone backwards with the box not being, South Africa not being involved there. And New Zealanders, they're not going to like hearing that, but that is the hard facts. They don't play against our forwards, and we've got the best forwards. And it's going to sound arrogant, and they're not going to like hearing it, but that is the facts. But they've still got great schoolboy guys coming through in the NPC, under 20 New Zealand guys. Yesterday morning again, Ollie Mathis, I think that is his name, Waikato. He was brilliant. I think it was Waikato too. I don't want to sound like an idiot now. But they've got a 7. He played for New Zealand schools last year. His surname is Mathis. It's Ollie Mathis. That's his name. He was great. It was for Waikato. So he was amazing yesterday morning our time, last night New Zealand time. They've got a star in that player. I think he's going to be a big All Black. He was at school last year still. So I'm going to try and run through the games of this weekend quickly. I have plenty of Manawatu tomorrow. Manawatu, they are the kind of team. They score points, but they still lose by a lot of points. So you normally fancy points in the game. They're playing against Bay of Plenty, the Steelers in Rotorua, and the handicap there. Let me quickly check. The handicap is quite big, 24.5. If I have to go, I'll probably go plus here because Bay of Plenty, they've been hit and miss as well. So and you've got Jordy Falloon, quality 9 for the Turbos. You've got Jason Emery on the bench, lots of experience. So yeah, if pushed, they'll probably plus 3, but I think the way to go there is points. Let me quickly see what the points is. 65.5. That is a lot of points, even for the NPC. What I've seen in the NPC, especially over a few years, you get game of 2 halves points wise. You get a game that's high scoring, and that's normally the norm. What I've seen, you get high scoring first halves, and then the game like stops in the second half. You get like 15, 25 minutes, don't get any points, you get like one try or something like that. So if you are able to watch the game and have a live bet, watch how it goes in the first half, and then you go the other way around points wise in the second half. If it's a low scoring game, go overs. If it's a high scoring game, go unders. And don't be scared if you have a 40 point first half game and you get like a 73.5 points half time quote. Don't be scared to go under 73.5. You had 40 points in the first half. To get 33 or more in the second half, it's going to be tough. It just somehow it doesn't work that way. So wait for the points and go overs or unders that way. Next game, Auckland and North Harbour, the battle of the bridge, two Auckland teams. Auckland, they've been terrible. You have to go Harbour here. I think Auckland is actually favourites here. They are playing at home. Yeah, they're actually quite. What's it? 9.5, 8.5 thereabouts. Yeah, that's too big. Harbour will stay in that. Harbour might win this game because Auckland have been really poor. So I think the 8.5 plus 8.5 is definitely the way to go. I haven't checked all the games, but that's probably the best of the NPC games. And then Wellington against Southland. Southland, they used to be the whipping boys, but they've actually been quite the last 2-3 years. They haven't been that bad. Wellington, quite good, probably the best of the NPC teams this year. And what's the Wellington minus here? 21.5. So three converted tries. Wellington versus Southland. You probably have to go Wellington, even though Southland have been impressive. But again, it's a 2 p.m. afternoon kickoff if the weather is good. I see the game is in Porirua, so it's not in Wellington. But if the weather is good, you have to go overs here. Southland will score a few points as well, even though they normally are the whipping boys. But Wellington, they are, in my opinion, a form team in the NPC, and they on form at the moment, I think they will win the NPC. Then Otago versus Canterbury. Canterbury, I like taking on Canterbury in the NPC because, in my opinion, the bookmakers favour them because of the Crusaders' history. So they've got they favour them, and they've got a reputation. Otago, they've done quite well this season. The game is in Dunedin under the roof. And Otago are slight underdogs, but it's basically a choice game. I think Otago will win the game. I like I said, I like taking on Canterbury, but on paper, sorry, I'm looking at the team. That's why I'm looking away for the camera. Canterbury, they've got a good team on paper. Otago also a good team. They've got Liam Coltman, Fabian Holland, Kirsten Leowilly, Cameron Miller at 10, Jonah Nareki, Thomas Margaret Jensen. It's a good Otago team, but on paper also a good Canterbury team. I'd say Otago, if you fancy Otago, probably take the 1-12 here, take a bit of value, but I think Otago can upset Canterbury. So I think the 1-12 is the way to go. Unsure about points wise here. If you can get points more than 60 here, I think unders might actually be a bit of a play here. And then Hawke's Bay against Tasman. Now that's going to be interesting. I haven't seen the handicap. I'm not sure whether this is a shield game. This is also basically a choice game. The away team Tasman, they are slight underdogs. Or no, it's a slight favourite. Sorry, like -1.5. And Tasman, they've been quite good so far. So you probably have to go that way. but it is a Hawke's home game, and if it's a Shield game, you have to go with Hawke's Bay, because they just love the Shield. But this is not a game where I'm going to spend money on, because I'm not sure about this game, and like I said, I haven't followed the NPC that closely. And then we only have the Sunday games left. Let me see. So that's only Taranaki against Waikato and Counties versus Northland. Northland played yesterday against Waikato, and Waikato won that quite easily. And Waikato didn't even pick their best team. So against the Bulls, Taranaki, Waikato underdogs. No, that's not right. Waikato plus 12.5 against Taranaki, even at Taranaki. I think Waikato will stay in that handicap. I'm quite surprised. I would have this much closer to like a one-score game. And I thought Waikato might actually be closer to a choice game here. So, Waikato plus 12.
I'm enjoying this, Brent. He's just realised they've priced up the wrong favourites, and he hasn't quite called it like I do. I'm impressed, Henrik. I enjoyed that one.
Yeah,
he's trying to get off the show quickly so he can back it.
When I thought, and there's probably a few guys more sharp at the moment on NPC than me that's going to think, I'm talking bullshit about Taranaki, because I'm going to have a look at the results, and they probably have played well. But what I saw from Waikato, and they didn't have the best team yesterday, they were quite impressive. So 12.5 underdogs against Taranaki, Waikato plus, definitely the way to go there. And then Counties against Northland. Northland, they've been very disappointing. Counties at home, minus 1.5, definitely the way to go there. And I think there will be points in that game as well. The points is out, 58.5. I think there might easily be 70 points in that game. Counties to on the minus, I think the bet there. But plus 12.5, Waikato, best bet on the NPC.
Farid certainly agreeing with you there. Well, I'm going to come back to you for best bets, give you a little bit of a rest there, Henrik, after racing through those fixtures. Well done. And go to Oracle, who's been sitting in silence for a little bit. Oracle, what are your best bets of the weekend?
I just need to point out something. So Farid's obviously been our chatter of the night, and he's obviously been with us for a long time. Followed. You should get Farid on the show, Brent. But more importantly, I'm going to suggest Farid is under 27 with no children, or he's 55 and above, and his children have left the house, because he's got a lot of time. He's overanalyzing all of this stuff far more than we do. But I did enjoy Henrik there, realizing that didn't look right, and I've been there myself, and I think that's where it came from many years ago, saying they've got the wrong favourite here, because I think I was completely stunned on one of the shows where I was expecting a -4 and I got a +4, and I scratched my head for a bit and couldn't believe it. But yes, those do happen, and you've got to remember, and I'm pretty sure Henrik will agree here, these handicaps don't come from a bunch of clever people sitting around a table on a Wednesday deciding what handicap to go. These are algorithms. These are people have put math stuff in, and they've obviously given each player a value, and they put it in, but they do miss stuff, and that's why there's bookmakers, and that's why there's punters. They're not going to get them right every single time, and a lot of these games are wrong. And I know there's that old adage, if it looks too good to be true, it's probably not the real thing. But that doesn't really happen in sports betting. That applies to buying a 10,000 rand TV for 100 rand or 500 rand or even 1,000 rand. And as in my wife and myself, we are net Lego collectors, have been for a while. And we went out to a house the other day. This chick's trying to sell a bag of Lego, and I just looked at it and I said, well, it's not Lego. She goes, it is. It's not Lego. So there's a lot of things that are too good to be true, and they aren't. But sports betting doesn't really apply to that. My best bets, Brent, I'm going to tell you that the Pumas are the best bet of the weekend. If you're going to go for a second one, you can chuck in the Sharks. But again, as I said earlier, rather go for a bigger minus here. And for a third one, you can throw in the Griquas. But for me, the Pumas definitely the best bet of the weekend. It's the game that counts. It's the only game that really counts. It is the only game that counts in the Currie Cup. With regards to South Africa, I expect South Africa to win. Yeah, of course they can beat the handicap. They can win by 20. I don't know. I'm just not that confident on it. I think they scrape home. And Argentina, Australia, I'm going to tell you, if you've got a loose couple of rand lying around, chuck it on Australia minus before you take the Argentinian one. But if you like Argentina, you might as well go for a price. Take them to win by 20 or more. If they play properly, of course they can. So again, I'm trying to stay away from the 9 to 10s here if I can. This is more about finding a little bit of value and spending less money. Out of all of the weeks we've been talking for the last few weeks, Brent, this is probably the hardest week to find a winner. And if you're looking for a quadruple, chuck on Henrik Kaito to win on the board. I wouldn't even take the plus there. So go for a $5, stick it on, and off you go.
Excellent. And just a reminder, you can get on the Good for the Game newsletter. It goes out probably tomorrow morning. There is a link to that down below. I was just laughing there because Fareed posted 58, and I thought, what's he talking about? This Lions spread or something? Hey. But he was answering your question in terms of how old he is. He's 58 years old.
Yeah, there you go. I knew it. He's got time. Fareed has time.
You were spot on there, Gav. And just Johan's, that's his treble up there. Couple of other best bets coming through, and we'll pop up to Henrik for his best bet.
Yes, I've just seen the Lions minus here. Chuck in the Lions minus on every bet you have. The Lions minus done and dusted. Over, race over. Put the result in, pay the punters.
Oh,
right, Henrik, hard act to follow there, man.
I haven't killed it, Henrik. I'm not capable. I'm not able to kill it. I promise you. Don't worry. Take your hand off.
Giving my best bet at the end. I was so hoping that Gavin's not going to say anything about the Lions. My best bet. Yeah, Lions minus, but Gavin, when you're that confident, we all know, and when I'm that confident as well, I know I have to actually be cautious. But that 45.5 just seems too low for me on the Lions. I expect them to put the Griffons away. So minus 45.5. Lions is the best bet for me. I'd love to tell you that the box minus is the best bet as well. And I think that is a great bet. But I'm going to the game and I just want to see a box win. So I'm not going to put a lot of money on it. I'm going to have a small bet. I just want to enjoy the game. I don't want to stress about money, stress about the bet. Like I said, I expect the box to win well here. And I honestly think the minus is the way to go. From a betting point of view, putting all emotions aside, just analyzing the game as it is, teams as it is. You can't go against Rassie. You're a brave man to bet against Rassie. And I've made a rule for myself not to do that. I think the minus is the way to go. And I hope the box humiliate the All Blacks. I want them to win by double figures, and I think that will happen actually. But yeah, I'm not going to call that the best bet. Talk more about the game that I'm not going to call, but yeah, Lions minus is the best bet in my opinion. And then I think that Waikato plus 12.5, I was surprised to see that plus there. Yeah, if you gave me a choice game on that game, I would have called Waikato to win the game as well. To answer that one.
Right, 100%. Well, we all like the Lions then. And so let's bring the show to the close. Well, we haven't been over an hour for a while, but there was plenty of rugby to talk about and a few other side shows, of course, as well. Thanks to all the guys in the live chat. Always great having your contributions on the show. And then to the two guests, first of all, Henrik, to you, enjoy the game, man. It's going to be great there. I can imagine the atmosphere is going to be quite something. And I've never been to the Cape Town Stadium. Been past it, but I can imagine the whole thing, even getting there, maybe having a drink in the pub beforehand, drink in the pub afterwards, whatever. It just adds to the atmosphere, and it should be a great one.
It's a great stadium, Brent. It's I was privileged to go to the World Cup last year, and the Stade de France doesn't compare at all to the Cape Town Stadium. The Stade de France is an old stadium. It's a terrible stadium. Everybody likes it, but yeah, the Cape Town Stadium is world class. It's one of the best stadiums I've ever been to.
And let's give the final word to the Oracle. Oracle, what you got planned? Anything for this weekend? And yeah, thanks very much for coming on the show.
Just cheap beer and watching the game here at home, where I'm in control of the remote, the fridge, the braai, the volume, the music, everything else. But as I said, mates of mine's come down from Durban, so I might go out to the waterfront for lunch, but I'll definitely be home in time. And for those worried about my retirement, I've given myself 30 months. I said it last month, so it's 29, but I do have the addition of the extra 6. Maximum for me is the end of December 2026. Will be my last month working full time, and then I'll go into semi-retirement, which is not doing nothing, but not doing everything. Not going to work every day, and definitely not doing 50 hours a week. I'm well on track for that. Quite excited, and I'm going to. The bookmakers should be very well prepared for when I've got as much time as Fareed has.
Excellent. Thanks everyone for joining us. If you caught the recording as well, make sure you join us live next week at 9 o'clock for the handicap. I've said that twice. A rugby chat that matters.